Alrighty.
Friends sucked every season.
Yeah.
That show was shit. Crap show.
Good evening and welcome to The Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here as always with my trusty co-host Liam McNeil. Liam, I tell you what, you're looking at, there's a few more greys in that beard. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling very grey, Nagy. I'm feeling very grey, and I haven't slept since, what day was that?
I don't know. I don't know what day it is today.
Days?
Yeah.
I haven't eaten.
No.
I've just been feeding off the energy, feeding off the passion and the wild scenes we encountered on Sunday. It's been keeping me going. It's been keeping me alive.
Now, when we signed up to be Knights supporters, Liam, back in '88 when we have to register, we were ready for some highs, some lows, some victories, and some devastating losses. But somehow we managed to cram all of that into one game.
It was quite impressive, and like you mentioned before, as Knights members number 1, number 2,
yes,
you never think that you're going to experience such highs and lows. Like you said, in one period of 80 minutes. We all went through our birth, 90 minutes rather. We all went through a birth. We went through puberty again. We enjoyed our 20s. We found young love. We turned 30 and then we started growing out a bit. And in this one game, we lived a whole life.
I had several children during this period.
To various women.
During the 90 minutes that 80 minutes couldn't contain it. No. It was far greater than that. A true moment of where were you when the Knights fought back against the Panthers.
I would argue that 90 minutes that we experienced contained more greatness than the entire 112 years of rugby league in Australia.
I think so too. But where do we start when we look at this marvel that was this game? I know where we're going to start. We're going to start with the 3 men that counted, and they were the young guns.
The young guns.
They were mere boys, Liam, boys that were brought into this side. Because who did we have? We had Ponga.
Gone.
Mitchell Pearce.
Done.
Barely lasted a moment. Connor Watson.
A mere moment more.
And look, who was going to fill that void?
Kurt Mann.
Kurt Mann, he was. And
he filled all of them. He filled all of them, but with some help from these young guns that, Nagy, two of them, we don't know. They're an unknown quantity. They've come out of nowhere.
Where do they come
Brodie
from?
Jones, barely a boy. He's only just put the pens down at school.
Yeah.
We don't know much about him. Who are these 3 kids? What do we know about? We haven't done background checks.
No.
We don't know what, but we love them already. They are a part of this city's history, and they've done a great thing. They've done a fantastic thing for both the game of rugby league, and just a great thing for Australia.
Debutantes was usually a time where you go on and you'd get used to first grade, but these 3 men. And they were boys when they took the field. They were men when they left. They grew and they took the game as their own, Liam. And I'm going to start with Brodie Jones.
Let's start with Brodie Jones.
As you said, pens down, HSC just finished. Come into the side, mate. You're ready. Cut his teeth in Cessnock, and by golly, if you're going to cut your teeth anywhere, it's going to be in Cessnock.
Well, there's not many teeth to cut.
Well, there's a handful, a mere handful, and he was there at Cessnock North High School, we're one of the roughest schools,
yes,
I think.
Look, of all the Cessnock schools, it's one of the least selective.
And he's coming in, he's built like a mountain, all shoulders.
He's nothing but shoulders.
And, he was probably coming on for 15 minutes. I mean, moments he was going to be coming on maybe in the second half as that sort of last fella you bring on from the bench. But no, he was called on in, I don't know, the 11th minute.
Something around that.
Some
ludicrous time that no one could have planned for. Look at this. He doesn't even have a picture on the Newcastle Knights website. This boy who saved our town.
Yeah.
This young man,
The Shadow,
famous 1994 film starring Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Although we were discussing this last night, and
remade.
You gentlemen may be able to help us out on this one. Was it Alec Baldwin in The Shadow, or was it one of the lesser Baldwins?
No,
okay, well, we'll look that up. We'll get Karen to fax it through to us in post, and we'll fix that up.
Brodie Jones, the Shadow himself,
Brodie Bridget Jones,
came in with the light beaming behind him, and didn't he just take the field with such gravitas? 51 tackles, 6 runs.
Now, thank you very much, Josh. That was
Alec.
It was Alec Baldwin. There you go. It was the good Baldwin.
The good Baldwin.
The good Baldwin.
And look, I tell you what, if we're going to have a player that we can compare to a Hollywood star, it has to be the good Baldwin.
The good Baldwin, absolutely. Speaking of Hollywood stars, what's more Hollywood than our debutante's name, Texas Hoy?
Tex Hoy.
Texas, son of Matt.
Son of Matt. At the time, the more famous of the Hoys, has a long affiliation with Andrew Johns.
Dear friend.
He was christened by the Eighth. Could you get a better welcome into rugby league than to be christened by our very own Andrew Johns? And then he's got his own picture.
He's got a picture, ladies and gentlemen. He has got a picture.
And look, I tell you what, he's got a real affiliation with not only Newcastle but Newcastle Ocean. His father being a professional surfer. He's more of a child of the sea. You should see him play in the rain, Liam.
I believe he was conceived in the ocean.
Conceived in the ocean,
just off the back of Newcastle bars there
on a long board.
Carry hole. He took off on a carry hole right, and the missus saw him and just whoosh. and there we have Tex.
And then we have Tex. Strong boy, strong name. And I tell you what, when the going gets tough, you give the ball to Tex, as they say. And didn't he do well?
We've been saying that for years.
He really stood out, I think, initially to show himself as, look, I'm not here just to play, but I'm here to dominate. It was probably in the when he's managed to hold up Penrith in the very early stages of the game.
Yes, and I think we've got the footage here. You've got Dean Forey.
Yeah.
And he's clearly over the line. He's done very well to get himself over the line in a backwards position, but mate, he didn't count on Tex.
No.
He didn't count on Tex.
The reverse is one of the more favourable positions to get over the line. We've got the forwards over the line and the backwards over the line. It's like the go-to.
Every once in a while you go sideways over the line, but generally it's forwards or backwards.
He gets all of his arms under there, like the Kraken of the ocean that he is. He had all 8 arms under there holding up the ball. And it was, I tell you what, that really sparked, that showed Penrith, we're not here to muck around.
But Nagy, we're talking young guns.
Yeah.
Mate, Mr. C. Randall.
C. Randall,
fresh off the bus.
Yes.
He just took the fucking 140 in from Lakes United to the International Sports Centre Marathon Stadium.
And he can tackle, and boy, could he tackle. Not just can he tackle, where's he going to tackle?
Everywhere.
Round the heads?
Round the head, round the shoulders.
Round the knees.
Round the toes.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes.
Heads and shoulders, knees and toes, Randall. Chris Randall, 71 tackles on debut. It was the record for a debutant.
Yes, and
a record for off the bench.
And almost a record for being just the most amount of tackles. He was tackling everything. He was like a machine.
Well, you remember in the change rooms after, he put Adam O'Brien on his ass.
Yeah, and he was tackling, and we had to fight him off. He said, Chris, the game's over. He said,
stop tackling.
Stop tackling.
Then we went out the front, he lined up the bus.
He thought I could take this too.
The thing ended up on its side.
He was an animal out there.
An animal.
I looked into his eyes. No pupil. No iris. No, nothing.
Pure white.
And by God, I loved it.
You should probably see a doctor about that.
I think he was legal.
I don't think we're in any position to give a medical opinion. We're not licensed medical professionals. We cannot stress that strongly enough. But look, I think Chris heads and shoulders, knees and toes, Randall really needs to get his eyes looked at. So,
yes.
But not a debutant, but still a young gun.
Yeah.
Bradman, the best.
The best. Simply
Bradman,
could you get any better than Bradman Best? Coming into this side, third first grade game, he looks like he's been there for years. Age well beyond his years. Looks like a thumb, as we've mentioned before.
But the power thumb, remember.
The power thumb. Well, that's the strongest of the fingers. And not really quite a finger.
And that's the reason why humankind developed computers and monkeys didn't.
Yeah. That
the
was
opposable thumb.
The most important appendage that you can get. Bradman Best.
Bradman Best, the most important appendage to the city of Newcastle.
Now, Liam, it was when we're coming into this game, as we mentioned, we lost our fearless leader in Mitchell Pearce, knocked into next week. I think he's still a little bit wobbly for a while there. We had to coax him out of Penrith. He was under the impression that he was,
Because Ryan Girdler's cafe he wandered into, and he just kind of started whipping up some lattes, and he just didn't leave.
We said, Junior, come on, you're a first grade footballer, you're a captain of this side, and he said, just one more latte. I've just got to get these customers customers out. And we said, by God, you're a good fella.
He's a great fella, but not his job. He didn't need to do it.
He had no idea.
It's not part of his role.
No idea where he was.
But he was so concussed that he figured, he'd spend half a day serving the people of Penrith their beautiful lattes.
And good on him for it.
And so he should have. So it's the kind of community work like that that severely concussed footballers don't do often enough.
Yeah. We were left with such a bare bones side. We're coming in with a bit understrength side. Mitch Barnett and we
lost Lockie Fitzgibbon in the warm up.
It was lots of players that we couldn't.
Caitlin Ponga, of course, famously suspended for one game.
Maybe for a bit of a brush and tickle that they call a shoulder charge in this day and age. Not what they would have called a shoulder charge back in our day, Liam.
No, absolutely not.
Back for the when you were playing
Sawtell Sandgropers.
The Sawtell Sandgropers. They knew a shoulder charge.
There was no wrapping of the arms.
No.
Up in Group 2, similar, up there on the Mid-North Coast.
Similar to the Soldiers Point subordinates. Now, you've heard of park football.
I've heard of park football.
This is more of caravan park football.
Caravan park football.
You didn't know the side that was coming in next year. You had to look around. Who have we got? We got Fisherman Pete. He's only got one leg, but boy, he could kick.
Yeah. And then, of course, caravan park football. You play on the road and the cars come. Car. Everyone goes off the side of the road. We come back on for stoppages in play. Thank God there's no cars going through NRL grounds because we're all about now less stoppages in play.
Less stoppages.
Which we'll come back to later.
Absolutely.
Also, it would probably kill many people driving a car across an NRL ground.
During play.
You
must stop it. We're in full support of the stoppage of play due to cars. But look, there was... We arrived at Penrith. Now, I have memories of what the Penrith
We didn't arrive in Penrith.
Campbelltown?
We strode into Penrith.
Campbelltown?
We rampaged into Penrith. We didn't arrive.
The Penrith side that was their home ground, they've taken to Campbelltown. It wasn't Campbelltown,
we didn't
wasn't
arrive. No,
I don't know where it was.
Anywhere south of... Belmont?
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about.
That's Penrith.
That's Penrith. Anything south of Belmont is Penrith.
Now, I have my memories of the Penrith team, but I swear, if all of them are 7 foot tall, if they're an inch, Liam,
they're large men.
What are they feeding them at the foot of the mountain?
Oh, there's got to tell you.
There's something in the water.
I think it's lead.
Lead.
Or lead in the water.
That's I read somewhere that the Penrith team, they have the water filters where it starts at the top and it drains through and it
like a Brita filter.
Brita filter and it absorbs all the impurities. They flip it on its head and they turn it over. They put all the impurities back and
they add the impurities.
That's how big and tough and strong they are.
It's great for the immune system.
Apparently
so. Great for the immune system. And their big men did not dare hold a candle to our big men. Let's talk about the engine room.
Sure.
Let's talk about the engine room.
Who makes
David Clemmer. 252 metres, 93 post-contact metres, 2 tackle busts, 3 offloads, 41 tackles.
I've nay seen...
What more can we say?
A greater performance from a prop. But I'll tell you what comes in a close second. Dan the Twin Safidi.
The Twin Safidi.
He's one of the Fijian... He's not a flyer. He's a Fijian, but he's a Fijian boy. And he's a
Fijian fister.
He's Jacob.
Sorry, we have on screen now that is Jacob Safidi.
Now this has a little.
But that's the beauty of the Safidis. They're twins, could be either of them. You don't know. We don't know.
Now, if I was going to be asking for a front row pairing, and I would say, look, give me 120 kilos, give me 6'5", give me from Fiji. Oh, look, we've got 2 of them. We've got a 2-for-1 deal.
Again, we've said this on this podcast many times. A beautiful recruiting decision to hire the same person twice, so you can only pay one salary, but have 2 players
genetically identical.
Yeah,
I've read somewhere that that everyone's got the unique smell. I've done a lot of reading recently, Liam, about mineral water, about twins, but everyone's got the unique smell except twins. Biological twins have the same smell. Identical twins.
They have the same smell.
Same smell.
Right.
Same smell.
Okay.
I'm not a professional. Please.
Just keep doing your show.
No worries. Thank you. That's our producer, Josh.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
Good to have you, Josh. I think we're sitting pretty, brother.
Thanks very much.
Just keep it off mic.
Keep it.
Keep your face pointing that way. I think we'll be right.
That's right. We often get these little tips throughout the show just to make sure we're doing our very best.
I'd argue we should be getting much bigger tips because our very best isn't very good.
There's a lot that we need to cover in this game, and we've covered a fair bit of it already. But Liam,
we only touched a third of the engine room. Daniel Safidi, Jacob Safidi, fantastic.
Yeah.
Daniel Safidi, 251 metres, 109 post contact, 46 tackles.
Yes.
Jacob Safidi, 125 metres, 43 post contact, 3 tackle busts, 1 line break, and 1 try. those three, they led everything. They just, the back five as well led everything. Because they were all fantastic. They were all wonderful.
They all did it.
But how... we don't want this to be a 2-hour episode, Nagy. Where do we focus?
Look, there's a few key moments in the game. Mitchell Pearce going out. We've already established that.
Okay.
Then we're on the back foot. We remained on the back foot for all the half. 14 points against Potos on the form of 2 tries, 1 penalty try.
8-point try.
8-point
try, rather.
It's and we got 8-point try. A penalty try would be something different.
Yeah, very different.
And so that was the infringement that Edric Lee forgot which sport he was playing and thought, I'm going to throw in a bit of soccer. And that fella's head's going to be the ball. And so he gave it a good kick. And
I would argue that it was a bad kick.
Well, he gave it a.
He didn't go close. First of all,
he hopped on the good foot and gave it a bad kick. And
Edric didn't have his best game.
Look, I think he had a very mixed game.
Game.
But he was one of the shining lights because he was the only bastard out there with a bit of first grade experience. He tried his absolute guts out, Edric, and I think are we going okay over there? Okay, wonderful. Now there's when we look at the game, there's a few key moments, but being 14 points down now, Liam, I'm a Knights supporter. I've been a Knights supporter for several years, and I know the feeling when we're about to get thrashed, and I had that feeling. I had that feeling after the first 20 minutes. We tried very hard. We kept him out. We denied him a few times. From the 20 minutes to the 38 minutes, that's faltered a little bit.
It's funny you say that, Nagy. I had that very same feeling. And I imagine all Knights fans did.
Yeah.
Considering where we've been, where we've come from, what we've seen. Yeah. It's perfectly reasonable for a Knights fan to have that feeling at that point in time when we did, as we had that feeling at that point in time.
But the team... Please.
No. Yes, Mum, it was a very reasonable feeling.
Yes.
Nagy felt it too. All right, I'll watch less rugby league, Mum. Thank you.
I think that often shows that we did destroy a lot of relationships that we've had in our own home due to the swearing.
Oh, we've burned a lot of bridges.
Yeah, it was by no means it was a healthy game for any of us to watch.
Oh, no. I haven't been, my family haven't looked at me the same ever since.
I believe
there was noises coming out of me that I didn't know I could make.
I believe one of our jousters, Brock Kemp, was watching it and was told by his other half, you can no longer watch rugby league in the living room without forewarning.
Oh, there you go. I've just been informed of the same.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mum, for reaching out to the show and giving me a call.
This is what happens. God bless you, Linda. This is what happens when they take away the live games. We have to sit at home and we have to swear.
Yes.
But look, there was the real key moment where we said no. Well, the team said no, but we were on the sidelines. We also said no. Was when Jacob Safidi, the other Safidi of the identical twins, just ran clean, a nice clean ball off Tim Glasby and went under those posts. And I tell you what, that felt like a team. Felt like we were always the team putting 14 points on, thinking how much are we going to win by, and then having that removed from us.
Well, of course, Nathan Brown, as we've discussed, had his classic Xanax in the halftime Powerade.
Yes.
He'd give those speeches where the players would kind of nod off and have a bit of a kip.
Yep.
And then, half the time they didn't even run out. They were still, their phone alarms would be going off, but they're just sitting.
I tell
there was none of that.
I remember saying to him,
none of that.
I said, Nathan, halftime, should we be laying the foam mats on the ground? It sort of encourages snoozing.
It encourages snoozing.
And he said, hush, Nagy, hush.
And then you had a snooze on the mat.
And he slipped something into my mouth and I nodded off. I think it was a tablet.
But none of that from Adam O'Brien.
No.
In fact, the way these boys defended, it looks like he'd given them amphetamines.
There was something. It was something. It might have just been the lead in the water from the region.
Well, I would imagine that the Knights obviously filled their water bottles at the ground in Penrith.
Absolutely.
So if you filled them in Newcastle to take them down to Penrith, you're just adding unnecessary weight to the back of the bus. That's going to slow the bus down. It's going to decrease fuel efficiency, all that kind of stuff. So you take the water bottles down empty. Yeah. Obviously, you fill them up there. So
we got all the nutrients.
So you get the nutrients and what was the opposite of nutrients that we said?
The toxins.
The toxins. You get the toxins. You get the lead in the water, and then you know what lead does?
Yeah.
It steals you.
Yes, that's what it does.
It does that. It turns you into a man made of metal.
We're not promoting drinking lead or drinking disinfectant.
No.
We're not promoting anything on this show.
No.
Please don't do it.
If anything, we're promoting to not drink at all.
At all. Exactly
water?
right.
No, don't touch it.
Don't do it.
It's full of intoxicants.
This
is a dry podcast.
When we hit the second half, Liam, and I thought that that was going to be our big test. We got back in the game.
Well, that's it, Nagy. Did we hit the second half, or did the second half hit us?
I think that might have happened, Liam, because there was I lost count of how many tackles the Knights defended on their line.
1 million.
Was it 20? Was it 40? Was it 60? I don't know.
I don't think they can count that high.
I don't know.
Mathematics hasn't reached that number yet.
There was so many back-to-back, but we turned them away, Liam. At every opportunity, we turned them away.
Unlike Nathan Cleary and Chicks.
And right at the very... we shut the door and we said no.
Much like Nathan Cleary didn't to those
do.
Chicks.
And
He should have shut the door and said no.
Just at the pinnacle moment of turning them away for the final time, Edric Lee taking the ball on the full, in goal, running to the 20, 7 tackles set. And where do we go? We go all the way down the end of the field.
All the way down the end of the field we run. From the 20 to the
the
100, so 80 metres. Within 80 metres.
The other 20.
The other 20. We had to cross the other 20 to get to the try line.
Exactly right. And we did.
You can't go around it.
Through that through that boy who spelled, I don't know how old's Bradman Best. I don't think he's not old. But I'm going to say 18.
He's definitely younger than Donald Bradman.
I'm sure he's 18 because he was wearing the 18 and commentators commented on that.
That he was just wearing his age. We're going to look it up right now, guys.
Wouldn't that be an interesting way to arrange rugby league jerseys if you had your age on the back?
Would you have to like sign people of different ages?
You'd have to say, well, there you go. There's your squad. You have to sign one person of every age. So you'd obviously, so what do you got? 17 people. So you'd have a good sprinkling of veterans.
And that's when
nice middlemen. You've got some young guns coming up.
You get a veteran running in you're chasing down. You go 35. I could get him. I'm in with a chance here. And then you see like the next time there's 19 sprinting down. Well, he's gone.
And then you see number 1. You're like, how's he sprinting? He's a baby.
He's just a child.
He's not yet out of the cot. I think that idea it has merit. But it warrants some more research. I think it's some more workshopping.
From that point, Liam, it went into the most, I don't know how to describe it, the most turgid, roller coastered experience of my life when we fought back through 2 Bradman Best tries on top of the Jacob Safidi try. Bit of unlucky with the conversions. Those posts, I don't know if the ball was metal and the things were metal and there was magnets in the air from all the lead, you see.
The lead.
The ball just wouldn't go through.
It wouldn't go through, and often it was actually drawn towards the post.
Yeah. I think there might have been something, I don't know if it's north facing. I don't know. Look, I'm not a geologist.
Nor am I, no.
No.
Again, we like to let people. It could have been the Coriolis effect.
It could have been.
That's the Coriolis effect because of the curvature of the Earth.
Absolutely.
The toilets spin a different way in the north as they do in the south.
Yes.
I don't think that's true.
No. Well, I think it does. I think you can force it the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but naturally it will go one way.
American toilets, though,
they use.
Do not get me started.
More water, less hole.
Yeah. Well, that's how I used to describe when I was living in Canada. So, for those listeners who have never been, look at all the cameras there. So, all those users who have never been to the North American continent.
There's a camera here,
camera
here, and here.
Yeah. Camera here.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, they've been to the North American continent. Their toilets have a small hole, but big water.
Big water.
Whereas our toilets have small water and big hole.
Big hole.
But I feel like we're getting down a disgusting road that would be below our podcast.
We're twirling down a disgusting road of...
Distract me, Nagy.
Say
something.
Now, like the field goal, it came to Golden Point. Now, I'm more nervous than anyone during Golden Point because there was a few moments like Edric Lee, attempting to break the game open and things like that. But look, it was a real, even lock horns by this point. The boys were exhausted, and it went to Golden
Fatigue's been brought back into the game,
and it has. And gee, was it shown? And I tell you what, there was.
I don't think it ever left.
No, yeah, they always look tired.
Footy's really tiring.
That's true. Yeah. And then there was just these moments where it was like, okay, it's field goal. And then I think Penrith, by count, had 11 opportunities at field goal.
And how many did they miss?
All 11.
Every single one.
Every single one of them.
Poor Matt Burton.
I know. Matt Burton was, a mere boy also. Been thrown into this.
It's a game of boys.
It was just, I tell you, it may as well been in the under 14s out there. But you try to get, and I tell you what, if you don't have the crowd, because when you're watching on television, you can't tell the angle of the ball going through or not. It all looks like it's doing well.
And that's one thing that's completely ridiculous because Fox have a camera behind the goals to watch a goal conversion being kicked.
Why do you flick to that?
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Do the same thing as you do for the other kicks, and it'd be easy. But no, we have to rely on the crowd behind the posts to tell us if
do
it
they
is.
Jump?
Do they jump?
Yeah.
If it is or in fact not a field goal.
And we had no idea. So every time the ball went through, I was like, I don't know if the game's over.
No.
It was
and that's a very stressful feeling to not know the game's over.
Stressful, I tell you what. It's I grew another kidney. I was that stressed. It happened 11 times, again and again and again. And look, Paul Bradman Best tried his absolute guts out, followed his instincts the whole game, and scored 2 tries, kept us in the game. And then, there was a moment there we could have broken it back open. We could have it could have been one of those moments of utter joyous nostalgia and
that other fans have experienced at the Knights' detriment so often, so many times.
But we didn't do that. But what we did do is still back a 14-point lead, back to 14 points all, and we managed to take away a point. And I tell you why I'm so happy about that, Liam, because they went in there and they busted it for us, the fans, and
the punters.
And we lost troops. Troops went down, but we managed to steal a point back.
You know what they remind me of? The Diggers.
The Diggers. Yeah.
That's what the Newcastle Knights in this particular game. You know what it made me think of? I thought of the Diggers.
The Diggers.
I thought of the ones who've been there.
Yeah.
At the coalface.
Dug in.
At the firing ledge.
Yeah.
About to go over the top. Is that the RSL club again?
It is the RSL club. Sorry, look, it wouldn't happen again. Okay, yeah. No more Diggers comparisons.
Our apologies to all return servicemen and women.
Wasn't quite at that level.
No.
But it was close.
It was pretty good.
But I tell you, men that have not been over the top or dug anything, it felt pretty. That's what they would have experienced.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Look, we can talk about this game ad nauseum, Liam.
I think we have.
I
think we just reached ad nauseum.
Ad nauseum. People wonder what ad nauseum is. It's probably about 24 minutes. I imagine that's where we're at.
27 minutes. Thank you very much, Josh.
Look, Natalie, we must...
What else is there to talk about, though?
We must move on.
We must move on.
We talked about giving hats off. We didn't give any hats off through the period of the break, but now we have about 8 to give. Absolutely enormous what they've just did.
And that could be applied to almost any of the Knights 17 on that day.
I would struggle to give it... Look, every member of that forward pack made 40-plus tackles. They look like they made 100. It was an immense effort that we may not see again. But I tell you what, it made me fall in love with rugby league once more.
Now, Nagy, one final mention of the game that has been understated somewhat, and I know you want to wax lyrical on about this, and I would like to encourage you to do so. This man who plays for the Knights, got 3 Dally M points. His name is Tim Glasby. What did he do?
I think that Tim Glasby really, in a time that we really needed, we're looking for a leader. And as we said, we had these great forward packs, pushing forward, but we needed a little bit something extra. And Tim Glasby did that with the two very important tries. One going to Jacob Safidi, he was the first receiver, giving it off to Jacob, and the second doing a bit of second play option of an offload back to Aiden Guerra, which ended up in Bradman Best's hands, scoring the try. He did an immense work. He was that true lock into 5'8". I know he didn't do a lot of it, but we did when it counts. In that 20 metres, we had no 5'8". Kurt Mann was the experienced member of the spine. Kurt Mann was controlling the team. By God, he controlled it.
You know what? Let's talk about Kurt Mann.
Okay.
Let's do an hour and a half long podcast today, and let's talk about Kurt Mann.
Strap yourselves in. Where it's no longer the G-House, it's just a podcast dedicated to Kurt Mann.
Now, Kurt Mann had to fill the role of 9, 6, 7, and 1.
Yeah.
And by gum, he gave it his best.
He did. He did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And that will never be... Absolutely enormous what you did to Kurt Mann. Absolutely enormous. And I believe with many other players in that team, we take our hats off to you.
But again, hats off to essentially the entire team. 17.
I couldn't fault anyone. I thought anyone, even like players that will never get mentioned in how well they did, like Herman Sa, the man,
fantastic
so nice.
Off the bench.
They named him Herman. He came on and just he tore them to pieces. I was so proud. I was so proud of all the fellas in that side. Now, then we must move on to we might open your sack, Liam, because I know the sack's going to be pretty game heavy, and there's lots of statements, lots of statements. Questions.
Now I've had to cut out most of the statements because they're not questions, and it is the question sack.
Yeah.
So, but appreciate all the statements as well. Keep them coming because we feed.
Yeah.
We feed on you the Jousters' energy and love for the game and love for the night. We feed on that. So keep sending us statements. But we probably won't read them. Just going to stick to the questions. Now, Kelly Wilson, boys, take a moment, as he has, knowing how much of a hothead he can be, and tell, where does that performance rank in recent memory? Pardon the language, this is all Kelly here. Fucking stunning heart. From the fellas. He's struggling to find adequate superlatives. I think we've used all the superlatives so far in this episode. But yes, Kelly, the answer is yes. I forgot the question.
We've used all of them.
I forgot the question, but yes.
So basically, where does it rank? And it's an important question. Where does that game rank? Now, remembering we didn't come away with the win, but what we did was something special. Against the odds, sort of showing true heart. Oh, look, I tell you what, that puts us back into finals contention, that game.
For me, that's top 3 Knights efforts I've ever seen.
That's up there.
No Knights team of the last 15 years would have drawn that game.
Well, let's have the post-Joey era. We've got the game against Melbourne. I think that probably still holds in number 1.
Yep.
And then I would say this is a close second. That's in the post-Joey era.
That's how important this is. And it wasn't even a win.
The thing about the Melbourne game, though, that was like... Well, the last 5 minutes, the last 6 minutes?
It was,
that was miraculous. But this one, I think, is more impressive because it was like 90 minutes worth of
exactly.
grit.
It's true.
Exactly. Was it Travis Waddell? Who pulled the strip on Billy Slater to score for Kirk Gidley to famously kick from the sideline.
No. That was the Travis Waddell got the back in the game and then we scored again.
Scored again. Yes, Travis Waddell got us back in the game. Yeah. What happened to him?
I believe he went back to play with the Burleigh Bears.
Well, good club.
Just returning back to the Burleigh Bears.
Next question from Sean Lazenby. While on the topic of O'Brien, that defence, is he the best Knights coach of recent history, and why is it yes?
Now, Liam, I've always wondered this because we had the who was the assistant coach last year with Brownie? He looked like the guy Christian Wolf, who we described as the fellow who came out before Superintendent Chalmers as the very angry
man. Yeah,
very highly regarded. He was the defensive coach, and I thought, well, we can't get better than this guy. There's no upper echelon of more angry looking fella that you're going to be scared of. You think, gee, I'm going to tackle for him. I'm going to tackle for anyone.
But apparently, Adam O'Brien has that effect on his players.
I don't know. Now, I'm not a coach, Liam, and I'd hate for you to confuse me for one.
And nor, I must admit to you, Nagy, I don't think I've told you this before, but I also am not a coach.
Both of us aren't coaches.
There you go. We learn something new about each other every day. Isn't that fantastic?
The form of defence as part of NRL, which is basically half the game.
It's half the game.
Now, when they've said we've really focused on defence, should have that been something that might have been focused on a little bit earlier?
That's it. I don't think that needs to be stated.
When is that?
So it's like a rugby league team saying, look, we really played rugby league today.
Yeah.
And we played with rugby league within the rules, sometimes outside the rules. But that's what we did. That's all you're getting from that.
We played better rugby league than them. I just don't understand how, like, a professional team that has such a lineage could be like, well, no, now we've decided to really focus on defence. But, to keep them scoreless in second half was a wonderful effort.
A tremendous effort.
So it's something, whatever they're doing.
Because they have plenty of attacking weapons, They've got Bill Kickout.
Yeah.
That's about it.
But he's huge.
He's enormous. He did score one try.
7 foot tall.
Yeah.
It was... So, yes, look, whatever Adam O'Brien is doing, keep on doing it.
Keep on doing it. Now, Anthony Hickling. This one was a bit illegible for Anthony, but Nagy knows Anthony a bit better, so I might get you to translate this. Fantastic performance. I was waiting for a penalty goal to be the difference, but 6 again was just called again and again. Do you like the new format where a try or a drop goal has to seal it and not a penalty goal?
Thank you very much for bringing this up, Hickling. Now, Liam, I'm going to bring this back to you because you know more about this than I do. Now, because you had a
still
seat,
not very much.
Now, you had a seat in the Project Apollo.
I did. Yes.
Bring the game back. You were there with Wayne Pearce and the likes of. Look, I thought it was very interesting that Project Apollo was. Firstly, the first 17 was dedicated to getting to the moon.
Yes,
and then the 18th. Was focused purely on rugby league.
That's it. Apollo 18, rugby league.
Rugby league.
And you know who's not going to play me in Apollo 18? Tom Hanks. It's contractual. He'll never play in Australia. Because he got COVID in Australia.
And he's already done 13.
He's already done 13. They could never get him back for the reboot.
Unlucky number. The new rules, Liam. You're part of that. You've assessed the new rules. The 6 again rule, highly contentious. Highly contentious. Now, what's the review on the rules? Or what are they saying behind closed doors?
Well, so the review on the rules so far, and now we have this on very good authority because we've been. I know a lot of jousters who've been around us for a while have been missing the input of the Hebrew Hammer, the original 4th jouster. So we've actually got some stats here from the Hammer regarding the new new rules. So the new rules review.
Spoken about in Project Apollo.
Yes, which of course, we launched for round 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
So stats courtesy of the Hebrew Hammer. The offload count has increased from an average of 17 to 19. Now, that may only seem like a minor increase, but you're starting to see more second phase play, and I like that. Now, that difference, of course, is between round 3 and round 1 and 2. So even in this short period where teams are preparing for the new rules, they've already adapted. They've already learned to manipulate them. And they're going to be cheating very soon.
The crafty fellows.
Yeah, the crafty fellas. And look, if rugby league coaches are good at one thing, it's
bending the rules.
But they're also good at getting caught bending the rules. But more to come on that later. So the offload count is increasing, which is a good thing because that promotes attacking rugby league. Get that second phase going, having a bit of fun, letting the boys play and have a bit of fun, especially when we get the fatigue that all these old footy heads talk about that seems to already be in the game because it's 80 minutes of people running.
Yes.
It's already fatigue.
Constant running.
Where did the fatigue go?
And tackling.
It never left.
No.
They say bring fatigue back into the game. I say fatigue exists in the game.
Yeah.
My starting point of every day is fatigue.
Just more fatigue.
And I get fatigued as I go through my day.
Sleep means nothing.
No.
Purely killing time.
It's killing time. That's exactly it. Now, the tackle count restart, Nagy.
Yeah.
I adore this rule. I think it could prove to be one of the great rule changes in the history of rugby league.
Now, do you feel like this because maybe the Knights got a few of them and Penrith got none?
No, I just generally watching. I made a point to myself having, had no rugby league for the last, what's it been, 8 weeks?
Something like that.
I sat myself down and I said, you know what, Liam? I'm going to do every game this weekend. And I watched every game, every single game. And you know what? The 6 again rule is a beautiful rule. It promotes flowing rugby league.
The full Nelson, they call it.
It's the full Nelson, the full Nelson.
Watching every game is the full Nelson.
All day.
Thank you, Joey. He chimes in sometimes.
But yes, no. So we've
got a faster play the ball. We've got more tied players out there.
Play the ball. The play the ball speed has decreased rather from 3.66 to 3.46 seconds. So we're getting quicker play the balls, and we're getting more of a roll on,
less penalties,
and less penalties. Now the penalty counts have been slashed from an average of 14 penalties per game in round 1 and 2 to an average of 9 per game.
What was the first one? First round 1 and 2 was what?
14.
14 to 9.
Down to 9.
That's like a low sale. But Liam, there was a time that we used to watch rugby league, and you'd be there at the game
after Burke's backyard.
After Burke's, but you'd be there, you'd be sitting down, and you'd have so much time. You'd have time. There'd be stoppages left, right, and centre.
Absolutely.
You can nip off to the bar. Grab yourself a pie, grab yourself a schooner. You're just enjoying it because it was. You come back, nothing's happened.
No.
They're still reconvening the scrum, telling the hooker, please don't strike at the ball. Absolute lunacy. But now there's none of that. They've cancelled that out.
You know what they need to bring back? The beer man who walks around the stadium. 'Cause obviously, we all know we've been to professional sporting stadiums, Marathon Stadium included. You have to go get your own drink. You have to go get your own chips. You have to go get your own fairy floss.
Yeah.
They need to bring back the hawker who has the big tray in front of him and he piles it up with beers and you go, hey, beer man.
Yeah.
And he'll hand the beer down the line to you and you'll hand your money up. And because if there's less stoppages in play, there's less time to go to the bar.
More community handing across.
And look, if there's anything that rugby league is about, it's about promoting alcohol.
Yes, yeah, and also
it's the reason I drink.
There's also maybe not on this COVID time with handing the beers around and touching the money and things like that.
Yeah, well, look, Project Apollo, obviously, our reach, our purview is well past COVID. So this is a post-COVID select. Post-COVID idea.
That's where the best ideas are.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking forward. We're really looking to the future. Looking at how we can improve the game, et cetera, et cetera.
Less stoppages, more play, more tired men,
more alcohol being applied to the fans.
More alcohol. There's a lot of positive things happening in this.
That's where the money is. That's where the Knights make money. Selling 3.5% cans of CC and Drive, $10.50.
I think Marathon does it for a fairly reasonable price. I don't know how much it is. I usually stock up at another pub before I get there.
Stock up at the Commonwealth Hotel.
At the Commonwealth Hotel is where I would stock up.
Before any Knights home games, we'll get our Just fans and we'll go to the Commonwealth Hotel. We'll
Courtesy bus.
Courtesy bus.
Straight to the game. Sometimes I have time for 4 scooters. Might squeeze in 6.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the Commonwealth Hotel will be reopening to the public on the 10th.
Yeah.
And the Knights home game following that. No, the Knights away game following that is on the 13th.
They're all away.
Be sure. Good point. Be sure to get into the Commonwealth Hotel as of the 10th. They will be taking guests, and by God, it'll be good to get back in there for a schooner.
Absolutely.
Stu keeps those lines very clean. I know
There's
that for a fact.
Nothing quite like the taste of a Commonwealth beer schooner in hand, watching the Knights up on the screen, just enjoying the great city of Newcastle in all its forms. Liam, I think it might be that time again. Our favourite
One
time.
more from the sack. Biggie. All right. First item in the news. Kyle Harcher says, God bless the Steeden. I thought that would be a good theme for the episode, so I was going to bring it up at the start. The first item in the news is just God bless the Steeden and everything it represents and everything that we play for.
Yes.
It's the Steeden. The Steeden is the spiritual heart of rugby league.
Yeah.
The Steeden is where the magic, it's what the magic happens with.
Yeah.
The Steeden is what we're all looking at. As the game, so yes, Biggie, great point. God bless the Steeden.
I don't want to get you stuck on the eight segmented Steeden.
Don't you get me started on the 8-panel Gilbert ball.
Don't you get me started. I will not dare. I will not dare.
But look at this beautiful ball on there. Isn't it fantastic? And I like that over the years, the Steeden has become more rounded. Again, we've discussed in the past that the Gilbert previously was the ideal kicking ball because it was more rounded. Whereas the Steeden was like the obelisk.
Like the obelisk.
Like the obelisk, more pointy. But the Steeden, they've evolved the Steeden. They've turned into a fantastic, rounded end football.
Yeah.
And like Biggie said, mate, God, this is a celebration of rugby league. God bless the Steeden.
Thank you very much. And I think it's time for our favourite segment. It's time for the... Can we do it twice? We can do it twice. It's time for the news.
2 news segments in one podcast. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Now, we giggle.
We giggle.
We giggle, nag,
We
we
jest.
laugh. We jest. We have fun.
We poke fun.
We poke fun. We make light.
Hey, look, look! If you can't have a good bloody laugh with a bit with a ringing phone and a farting noise, and
but we jest and we laugh and we mock and we. But we need to talk seriously now. Connor Watson is out for 6 to 8.
that's a long time. I was really hoping for less time. When I saw him back running on it, I know he was doing the hobble, but I really thought it might be like maybe it looked bad. It looked, we might have a bit of footage from it. Look, it looked dangerous because it did the twist and it sort of went under him.
Yeah. It was not a pretty event.
Not the favourite, dance of the late 70s, early 80s, the twist, but much more of the ankle sort of succumbing under your own body weight twist, which is a much
Charleston.
worse. The Charleston.
That's what they call it. They call that one the Charleston.
The Charleston Shuffle.
No, just the Charleston.
Just the Charleston.
Just the Charleston. And then if you get the right girl home, you do the underpants Charleston. Yeah. All right, cool. Next in the news, Aquila Uarte has been released.
Hang on,
Hold on.
We got. Here we go. Boom, and he's done the Charleston.
He's done the Charleston all over his ankle.
Here we go. Oh, I just got said that if there was no studs in the shoe, it'd be fine.
Not a good look. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for Connor. It's not a good look for the Knights. It's not a good look for the game.
But it's a great
because you know what turns people away from rugby league? People getting hurt.
The Charleston.
People getting hurt. You don't want people getting hurt.
No.
If you go out on the street and you hurt someone on the street, you go to jail.
Yeah.
If you're at the pub and you hurt someone at the pub, you're straight to jail.
People like watching it though.
Well, it is good to watch, yes. And fair call. I'll allow that.
6 to 8. So who do we see coming into the hooking role? Then we got. Thank God we got McCulloch.
We got McCulloch.
Can we also just touch on the number 9 jersey cursed again?
Yes. I hadn't even considered that at the time. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Just as soon as you put whoever's got that number 9 on.
All right, so Andrew McCulloch, we're coming for you next, buddy. But yes, McCulloch has been named this week, as has Mitchell Pearce.
Yeah, interesting.
Interesting call.
As we said, he didn't know who he was mere days ago.
Again, working at Ryan Girdler's
But Liam,
cafe.
we feel like there might be a bit of under the table play here. We feel like it could be. Watch this hand up here while I, shuffle the cards with the other. Thank God I was shuffling cards.
I really wish I could see what you're doing under that table.
Shuffling cards.
Very worrying.
I'm shuffling, Liam. And that's what I think. That's what Adam O'Brien's doing. Is I believe that Mitchell Pearce will not play.
Oh.
But who does he have?
You're suggesting some form of subterfuge.
But who does he have on the bench?
He's got on the bench number 14, Tex Hoy.
And that's the man that I think is going to take the position of Mitchell Pearce.
Tex Hoy going into 5'8", with Kurt Mann going to half back. Or do you think Tex Hoy goes straight to half back, Kurt Mann 5'8"?
Tex seems like he's got a better kicking game, possibly. But also he's got the possibly the greatest player in rugby league currently, sitting in the number 1 jersey behind him in Kalen Ponga, the Pong, as we call him. So it's can we
fit both of those men? Fit both of those boys.
So much talent
into this team.
I don't know, bustling with talent.
And then with McCulloch starting, I've got it written down here that Ponga's back. Pearce has been named. Andrew McCulloch named to start. Tex Hoy's 14. Maybe no Pearce. Tex to 6. Randall to the bench.
Well, who do you? That's exactly what I think. Bring him in. Get him in tackling. Maybe you have to blindfold and bring him in so he doesn't tackle everyone else. And then you just take the blindfold off and you get out there. You did 71 last week.
What if
72 this week?
What if they substitute Andrew McCulloch for Chris Randall and Chris Randall tackles Andrew McCulloch on the way off the field and ends his season?
Possible. And that's the number 9 jersey, again, cursed.
Oh, look, I think, all right.
Slain by your own team.
Let's cover our bases. We're going to cover our bases. Nagy and I will be escorting Chris Randall onto the field to make sure he doesn't tackle any Knights players until he's on the field. And then he's fair game.
Son.
Then it's fair game.
We say, get him. Heads and shoulders, knees and toes. Get out there. You can tackle them all.
Yes. Yes. Aquila Uarte. He's been released by the Huddersfield Giants to release to... I already said release. He's been released by the Huddersfield Giants to return to play in Australia. Now... We've got some beautiful, beautiful footage here from Aquila Uarte in his heyday in 2013. Is that the year he played Origin?
No, he played Origin early. I believe he played Origin in 10 and 11.
10 and 11. Now, that's quite a player. Now, we see this one here. He was he was a finisher. Pure finisher. Now, I believe he
could
finished...
run. By God, he could run.
He could run. But look at the arse on him. Of course he can run. Yeah. What did he end his career with the Knights on? 130-odd tries?
I'm going to say 110, but I think that it was 110 from 160 games, I believe.
Cool. That's pretty good. Still pretty good. But wouldn't it be great to see him back in the red and blue? I despise that he went to Manly.
I know, it didn't sit well.
Danny Levi, I don't mind so much. But Aquila, no way.
It didn't feel right to see him go like that. He was our best winger, and we went to the enemy. But at the same time, look, it'd be good to see him back in the country. Obviously,
great to see him back in the country.
England's too far away. But where does he end up? Hope he doesn't end up playing against us.
It's too cold as well.
I know, it's chilly over there.
For a Fijian guy who's grown up in the islands, you're going to
tropics.
In the tropics,
yeah.
He's used to the tropics, and then Newcastle as well. Quite a temperate city at the best of times. You don't get the colds that you get in friggin' Huddersfield, wherever the hell that is.
Yeah, I don't know. North, I think
north of London or something.
North of North.
I don't know why anyone goes to England. It's a waste of time. Next item in the news. Now, this is very serious. Very serious. Oh. 2 men have been charged in connection to Craig Bellamy's win.
2 men.
2 men.
We're 2 men.
We are 2 men.
But we're not the 2 men.
No, but we are 2 men.
Yes.
But not the 2 men.
Yes.
They're the 2 men.
They're the 2 men.
They're the 2 men.
And they've been charged.
Have been charged with betting sting. Dally M betting sting. Now, what I believe this is, what I believe the case to be is that these men were involved in some sort of situation whereby they knew ahead of time that Craig Bellamy was going to win, and they placed their bets at $7.
Yeah.
And then he came into, I believe, $1.40.
How did they know?
That's why they're being charged, because we'd like to know how they knew.
Well, at the same time, it's an event. It's but it's not sworn to secrecy. There's someone that's writing on the envelopes, much like a wedding card. You write the name, you have to do the thing, and then you fold it up, and you put it in the envelope. So that person knows. Yeah. That's where the investigation should start. That fella.
That fella who wrote the letter.
Wrote the card.
He wrote the card.
Because they pull it out, they read it. That's how they do it. Isn't it like the Oscars?
I think it's like the Oscars. I think it's modelled on the Oscars.
NRL's Oscars.
Yeah.
The Dally M's.
But look,
these two,
who amongst us can say we haven't been embroiled in a betting scandal, Nagy? You and I will know well.
We put our hands up. And say, look, if you haven't been embroiled in a betting scandal, you're not really having a good go.
Exactly. No. So yeah, full credit. I like what these 2 men have done. They've really gone hard out to make a couple of bucks, and as the
extra mile, you might say.
I would argue that they're very good entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs running a small business.
We're going to find out
Taking money
their
from the pockets
We're going
of other people.
We're going to find out their true talent and value in 5 to 8 years.
Yes, absolutely. Now, this is a sweet one now. This is a sweet event.
Good to finish on a sweet, Liam. It's good
Oh
to
no,
finish
we've
on-
got a shit one to finish.
Okay.
Penrith Panthers gave their 10 tickets for the fans. They gave them to the families of Brodie Jones, Chris Randall, Tex Hoy, so they could see them debut. Boy, I bet the Panthers are regretting that now.
Look, it was a great gift to give to these to the parents and to the relatives of these debutants. By God, we had a lot of debutants.
Only for those debutants to kick back and spite Penrith and say, well, you shouldn't have given us your tickets because we just did one on your boys.
Yeah, and they by
In a footballing sense.
By God, they did one on them boys.
They did one on the boys.
So well done to Penrith for that for that show of it wasn't gratitude. It's more like a show of decency.
Excellent word, Joshua. Thank you. Decency is the right word. It was what it was a show of. And then
Thank you very much, all day.
Thank you, Joey. There's finally, before we wrap up, Liam, there's one more item in the news. I don't know what it is. You're gonna
it's
have to...
Bronson Jerry.
Of course. Now, a shit one, as we said. Bronson Jerry.
I believe it's Jerry.
Jerry.
Jerry or Cherry? People say Cherry, but I don't believe them. I don't believe them for a second.
Now, Liam, I was shocked. I was shocked when I hear this Sharks embroiled in a drug scandal.
A clean-cut club like the Sharks,
Good track
their
record.
reputation over the last 10, 15 years is of nothing but professionalism,
Honesty.
honesty, rule following.
Yeah.
The
The premiership in there somewhere.
premiership. Integrity.
Integrity.
The integrity. That's one thing the Sharks have had in spades since the bubbler incident, and then since the Asada probe, and then
Asada
since
probe?
the 2015 and 2017 cap cheating, and then against the Bronson Jerry. That's a very well respected club.
Could it be the final nail in the coffin? The coffin. Could it
They've
be the
been
final?
nailing final nails in Cronulla's coffin for years, mate.
They got the premiership
Ever
right.
since they lost the 97 Super League Grand Final, the coffin started getting nailed. Now, I'm intrigued that our producer Josh here has brought up a video of Peter Fitzsimons.
Yeah.
I would love to hear what Mr. Fitzsimons thinks on this.
It's talking about Brad Filler wants to help thick skull NRL players reveal. He wants Bronson to come back and be like, this is what I've done wrong. Please don't be like me.
I'd argue that a thick skull would actually be beneficial to an NRL player.
Yeah, well, that's why
Because you get hit in the head a lot. So I think Fittler's used this incorrectly, because what he's used is essentially a compliment to Bronson Jerry, saying, hey, your skull's thick enough, you can play first grade.
By golly, he needs a compliment at the moment. Liam, thank you for joining me for another week. We can talk ad nauseum as we have done. We've reached ad nauseum.
We reached ad nauseum half an hour ago. We've moved beyond that.
We're probably
Post nauseum.
We're post 47 minutes. We're 52 minutes. So we've got an extra long episode to talk about an extra good team in our bloody Newcastle Knights, and we look forward to them. We haven't even touched on them playing Canberra because we don't have time, Liam.
But you haven't got time.
Oh, we don't have time.
Also, Canberra are sick and we might not win.
George Williams looks like someone that's from another planet. They say he's from another country. I'm pretty sure he was beamed in.
Again, next week I will describe to you the angle of his forehead and how it relates to the angle of his nose. But we haven't got time for that.
We haven't got time.
It's straight. So his forehead goes down there, and then for those watching at home, his forehead goes at an angle like that, and then his nose just continues. So we will cover it.
It's like
It's just one slope from the top of the bottom of the hair straight down to the end of the nose. There's one slope. It's incredible.
You should see him swim.
Well, he lays upside down. It's like a shark fin.
It's like and hopefully he's not hungry because he might have a few nights. He's not going to beat. Will they beat us? I don't know. They're a very good side. They just beaten Melbourne
Incredibly well, too.
They seem like they just got talent all over the park.
Look, if the boys can tackle like they did the other day, we've got this.
We've got this.
We've got the premiership.
Bit of a bogey.
We basically won the premiership.
Basically. Hashtag undefeated 2020 Newcastle Knights. We're doing it all over again next week. Please join us for that. Thank you for joining us this week. If you like us, please like us on Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify. We're on so many platforms.
Facebook.
Facebook.
The big platform.
If you can't find us, you're doing something wrong because we're everywhere.
That's it. If you can't find us,
YouTube.
give us a yell. We'll call Zuckerberg. We'll get you sorted.
We're in discussions with Spotify to be solely Spotify. That's Spotify now. We must go. Liam, thank you for joining me once again. And we're going to catch you all next week. Yeah, you got Rogan and now you got us. There. Good night.